Just waiting for the connection. There we go. Okay. And okay. More piece of technology and then we're all set. We are on.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to I have 70 when the meeting is Tom Mueller to my left, Joe Hartz further to my left, and Bill Guerra way out there left field. And Ryan Davis is remote, right?
Can you hear us, Brian?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right, and so also seated tonight will be Brian Davis, who is remote to the meeting, and myself, Ralph Solano. First on our agenda tonight is special permit application number 2020-07-20-01. Section 4.5, Schedule A, Part A.16 for caretakers residence at 790 Old Northfield Road in an RA 80 zone. And the applicant is Stephen H. and Ann Dunstan Trust. Have all these been received in, Stace?
When I believe so. I don't think there's been anything.
It's been a while since we talked about it. You want to bring us up to speed?
1 second. Mr. Dunsky owns 790 Old Northfield. And he's doing an extensive renovation. And as a part of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Dunsky, he is seeking in a barn on the property to convert it into a caretaker's residence, which is permitted in the regulations in section 4.5 by special permit.
That's correct.
And I'm just going to share the screen now for you, Mr. Dunsky, if there's anything you want to refer to. It's doing that. Yes, we're good. I was just sharing the screen so that he could have in front of him the materials you have in front of you.
Is any member of the commission have any questions? And I just want to remind everyone that if you are going to speak, what you need to do is clearly state your name and address. If any member of the public wishes to comment on that. No? Okay. Stacy, are there any administrative concerns with this application?
No, there are not. We had been waiting to get Torrington Area Health District approval for the complete plans for the renovation of the house and for the caretaker. We had, as you mentioned, it's been a while. In the interim, we have gotten that.
All right, comment, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Thank you. Is there a second on the motion? I'll second it. Thank you, Joe. Any discussion on the motion? Bill Guerrero, how do you vote on this? Johari? Johari. Tom Mueller? Tom Mueller, aye. Brian Davis?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Sullivan also votes aye, so the motion is unanimous for public hearing. Would you guys like to act on this now? Okay, so either approve, deny, or modify.
And I should note for the record, this is one of several properties that Mr. Dunsky owns. The combined total is approximately 30 acres. They're all in one. Yeah.
We'll call vote again. Bill Guerrero, how do you vote on the motion? Joe Hart, how do you vote? Joe Hart, aye. Tom Mueller? Tom Mueller, aye. Brian Davis?
Brian Davis, aye.
Ralph Sullivan also votes aye, so the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Dunsky.
Mr. Dunsky, I will be sending you, the permit in the mail and doing the noticing and everything. And once you get that letter from us, you'll be all set.
Great, I appreciate it, and thank you, everybody, for handling this matter so quickly. I appreciate it.
Have a nice night. Our agenda is special permit application number 2020-10-06-01 for an accessory in-law apartment at 72 View Drive in R880 zone. Any water on this? Jason?
Question that Mr. Mueller could answer for me is regarding the status of sewer connection. Sewer connection. My understanding is the applicant, they might be her, did attend WPCI.
Attended the meeting and then indicated he did not want to. Yeah, so I really don't even know why we're here. So.
He is present in the audience if you'd like. I'm sorry, the applicant is
The
present.
applicant here? Yes. Hey, why don't you come a little closer? Right. Okay, okay. Is this okay? Okay. William Cherry, for the record. I did take your connection fee. I did that today. I have a receipt in my pocket. Oh, so that. Yeah, no, I'd like to, I'm sorry. So is that a change from the WPCA?
I should add that
I don't know that that connection was approved by WPCA.
after the WPCA meeting, Mr. Chairman did come in and indicated that he did in fact want to go forward, but correct me if I'm wrong, there was some uncertainty as to whether the purchaser was going to want the unit or not, and the purchaser does. So he had indicated to me then that he was going to pay the connection fee, which. So.
No. If you did pay a connection fee, is that the only missing item that was found for WPCA approval? Probably. So is there more that?
I know you're gonna have a copy.
Want to connect and they fill out an application for the permit. And I don't remember that was done. And when he went to me, he didn't want it, so I don't know. I can't speak to the entire WPCA. When does the WPCA? Here's to.
That would be the 17th.
17th. on the side. Okay, hold that thought. Normally, it's what we take care of. You didn't bring one sense here. I guess if everything else is in order, with everything. we could always, make a decision that we can really keep them there. So let's just do that in that way. What can we do on the side time? Accessory apartments in our regulations relate to 750 square feet. And what is the size of this one? Without calculating in, I think we leave out, we leave out bathroom. Yeah. We leave out five. Yeah. And the rest of it, not even counting the car unit, 914 square feet. The combined recreation room and kitchen is 194. One bedroom is 156. And what you're calling hallways, I fail to understand the logic of a hallway that's bigger than a lot of rooms in houses, 12 by 9, and 14 by 10. Those to me are additional rooms, and that's another 264 square feet, 914 total. Not including the two storage areas, the bathroom, and the walk-in closet. But typically, you would not see the bathroom next to the closet. Right. And typically, you would not see storage areas. Typically, what we would include the but we're not going to. I can just be trying to,
Perhaps the applicant. Perhaps.
Before we ask the applicant.
I believe I do have pictures from, the listing that maybe the applicants can speak to. It does. It did look more hallway rather than living, but again,
Yeah, as soon as, you know, if the permit is granted, then once the chance of the that it's certainly big enough to do it. And you're gonna get some rooms in my house. Tom does bring up a good point. You wanna, you, as the applicant, you wanna address that?
I mean, it's closed off, so, I mean, I don't know what you would call, I don't know what you would make it, but it's just a finished walkway. I mean, and then there's a door leading into what you would consider the living space. So it's just down the stairs into this walkway, that is considered the hallway, I guess. I mean, I don't know how to make that smaller. There's not really much you can do with that.
is there, would you say that the door into the apartment is at the end of that hallway?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that like a locked door for like, to keep it private?
There's no.
It should be a part of the package.
If you have the top floor, that's the area for the main floor. The main floor is listed on the realtor, function, 1,600 square feet. In here, I didn't see any pictures of all.
I can pull it up again. I could be right.
Stacy, was a letter sent out to adjoining property owners,
Yes,
and what was the area listed in that letter?
I believe the letter just listed the accessory, the fact that they were requesting a permit for an accessory apartment.
Did it have a square footage in that letter?
I don't believe so, but it would be in the packet. Okay, here, I have it right now. I'm gonna share it. And Mr. Cherry, would that be for the hallway?
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is the combined eating area, living space that I have up now. From another direction.
Excuse me, Stacy. I can't hear any audio.
How's that couch?
Excuse me, I can't hear, I have no audio on Zoom, so. I think so. I can, I'm showing your microphone was on mute, Stacy.
Back in. Might want to just repeat what you were discussing before we got booted, in
I-
terms of a possible site
I-
visit. in
Yeah,
terms
I don't
of
even remember
conditions.
what we were talking about. Yeah, yeah.
It cut out when, I believe Tom was talking about, concern about sizing, space, square footage. Are we still on
Yeah,
the,
so you got the sketch in front of you, right?
I do
Yeah.
not, I would have to try to go, yeah, I can pull it up, but go ahead. Tell me what your thoughts.
Hang on a second. Well, there's two areas on the sketch that are marked as hallway, which
Yeah.
would not be counted as living space, but
Yeah.
they're quite large for hallways. And
Yeah,
the concern is that they can be turned into additional bedrooms or offices or whatever.
yep. Okay, I understand. Where's the apartment end and where's it begin, kind of?
That's kind of the question, yeah.
Yeah.
We had talked about the status of the door into the apartment, which we found later on, pointing to one of the pictures right now. But somehow making that not an interior door, but an exterior.
Is what's the square footage maximum for the apartment on our regs? Is it 750 or is it that's the minimum?
No, that's the maximum,
Okay.
or a percentage of the, also a percentage of the main house, whichever is less, right?
Yeah.
And, okay, what, Stacy, is that 40%?
Yes, I believe so, but I'm getting it.
What's the what's the percentage of this in this instance? Does anybody know?
If the main house is 1668,
Yeah.
is what I didn't calculate it, that's on the realtors.
Yeah, so 1,600, so 50% would be roughly 800, correct? Am I
I think it's 40, I think the percentage is 40%.
40? Yeah, so it's right there.
Figure that area is, because if you figure that's part of the house, then that's gonna boost the amount of apartment that's available.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of, you have to decide where's the apartment begin and where's it end. If they're saying it's that hallway is leading to it, you know, I don't know.
The unit shall not exceed 750 square feet or 40% of the total area of the home after proposed construction or conversion, whichever is less.
Yeah, I I don't know. Yeah, I understand. Is this the first? How many more meetings will there be on this particular apartment?
The public hearing opened tonight. We did not read the legal notice into the record, but it was noticed for tonight's meeting.
Yeah.
And it is in the file.
Have you been up there, Stacy?
I have not.
I think I'm up to speed.
Want me
So
to go and find them?
yeah, I have
If the
like
applicant's here,
what's
I'll-
what's up. So I think we can proceed however the commission would have proceeded here. So
Did we determine what 40% is on?
Oh,
40%.
if it's 40% of the 1668, then it's then it's 667. And if we don't count those hallways, the rest of the living space comes in at 651. So that part of it is okay. It's just always, it's just the hallways.
Am I not allowed to have a basement anymore? Is that something? Opens up hallway, is all storage space for the house, not for the apartment.
We're not counting the storage there.
I know, I understand, but it's the owner of the house to go down into the apartment to get the stuff that's stored. That's what I'm just gonna say, like, why can't that just be in part of my basement? And move to the apartment?
That's,
That's all I'm
I think,
saying.
yeah, I think he's trying to say that in order to access the storage for the main residential unit, he has to go through that hallway, which in the normal course of events, you wouldn't have the owner of the house going through the apartment to get to this stuff.
Well, it's my back door,
If the commission is so inclined, I mean, it could be something where there's a sturdier lock, like with a traditional, not just like a push lock, but a bolt lock, making that it's the apartment and I can inspect it.
Would you be willing to go up there and do an inspection?
I have no problem doing that if the applicant's okay.
Why don't, I hate to make you wait, but why don't, maybe the best thing is to have Stacy go up and have a look and report back to us for the next meeting. You guys can, first Tuesday, first Wednesday, so. I don't know what the number is.
And then Tom, would you perhaps want to have them apply and come to the next WPCA meeting in the interim? Would you recommend that?
Unless they've already filled out permanent. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know I have not signed it.
I happen to have spoken to Joe Gannett earlier today, and he said that, as you did about the meeting.
So, I think, not go. Yeah, I thought this-
So I think that that's probably the most prudent thing to do. Continue this to next month. And in the interim, you can take care of whatever WPCA issues need to be taken care of. Stacy can go up and do an inspection and report back to us next month, and then we can go from there. Does that seem like a reasonable course of action? So why doesn't somebody make a motion to continue this to next month? So I'll speak up a little. Motion made by Bill Guerrero. Is there a second?
Joe Hart second.
Thanks. Any discussion on the motion? Bill Guerrero, how do you vote? Joe Harris, how do you vote?
Joe Hart, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Sloan also votes aye, so that motion carries unanimously. So we'll see you back next month.
I'll give you a call tomorrow when we can go right now.
Yeah, you're good.
You're welcome.
Don't have to worry about us talking behind your back because everything is recorded. All right, next on our agenda is a public hearing for zoning map amendment for 38 Grove Street, formerly part of 160 Main, from GC General Commercial to RA 15 Residential. And this was that lot that was split off last month.
So if you recall last month, there was a subdivision of the church property
Rick,
next door.
I think we all recall, and in the essence of time.
Yeah, I would just only add that I spoke with the attorney for the church earlier today, George Seaborn. He sent an email as the property, on behalf of the property owner, that your mishap check, this is to inform you and the commissioners that St. Peter's Trinity does not oppose the rezoning of its land on Grove Street. It has always been used as a rectory for our priest, and we will be marketing it as a residential property.
The neighbors were notified, right?
Yeah,
And,
only one contacted me and I explained what it was for, she was approval.
Does any member of the commission have any questions, comments, or concerns on this?
Just a clarifying point, the Grove Street property will not be downtown.
No, it will not. Per your,
Yeah.
yes,
All right, this is a public hearing. Does any member of the public wish to comment? And nothing online. All right, would somebody make a motion, please, to close the public hearing?
Tom Mueller, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Joe Hart, second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Bill Guerrero, how do you vote? Joe Harris, how do you vote?
Joe Hart, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Sloan also votes aye, so the public hearing is closed. You guys want to take care of this now?
Yes.
All right, you want to make a motion to approve the zoning map amendment?
Tom Mueller, so moved.
finding it consistent with the plan of conservation and development with an effective date the day after the date of publication.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second on the motion?
Joe Hart, second.
Any discussion on the motion? Bill Guerrero, how do you vote? Joe Hart's?
Joe Hart, aye.
I don't know why it's going. Tom, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
Ralph Sloan also votes aye, so that motion carries unanimously. You know what? I would sure like somebody to make a motion to amend the agenda to take care of item number 1 under new business at this point in the meeting, so we can let the applicant go on his way.
Tom Mueller, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Joe Hart, second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Bill Guerrero, how do you vote? Joe Hart's, how do you vote?
Joe Hart, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Sloan also votes aye, so that motion carries unanimously. So we will jump into item number 1, and the only item under new business, a site plan application number 2020-10-26-02 for a 60 by 40 hoop house / cover building on blocks at 1617 Waterbury Road in an M1 light manufacturing zone. And the applicant is MJW Services, and the applicant, I like to step forward a little and just give us a quick overview? Quick overview? So that's it, just doing a site plan to put up,
Depending what's gonna happen, with everything, financially, trying to figure it out. Of course, I have it, spent like 30,000. I'm close to getting ready to do that, but I'm not ready to submit it, because I don't wanna spend that money right now, and I know that I'm not gonna have it.
so does this require a public hearing?
Site plans are entirely up to you. Improvement, so
You guys have any concerns over this?
Reason, $30,000 engineering this thing. No, well, yeah, I'm getting ready to do my building, drainage plan. Like, what I did all the engineering for the building, but I'm not ready to do it because I'm afraid what my year is gonna be like. I'm gonna spend $400,000, So for me to spend the 400 grand, I need to know that we're gonna have a good economy somewhere, I had a good year, but I don't know what's gonna happen going on. We went through a recession.
So council come in, to discuss this and let us know. He did indicate on the plan where he's planning to put it. Just to clarify.
No power, no nothing. All I'm doing is getting myself out of the weather. So if I wanna work on it, I can. 40 by 60.
All your stuff gonna fit in there?
No flat, what's that?
All your stuff gonna fit in there?
Well, what I could do. So they have, like, they're actually like a truss building. So the hoops are trusses, so there's two, but they're like two. And then they truss them together, so that one like, the truss on the bottom of the plan. I think it's not going to be like, expensive. We had a good year. I'm not complaining one bit. We had a really good year. Yeah, no, we had a really good year. I'm happy with it. That's why I spent the money on the engineering. I really want to do it. I want to do it. If there's anything that, so sorry, right? I come in and I do what I need to do.
Very easy to work with, whatever is needed.
Like, well, if it's 6 months, I can't tell you it's gonna be, it could be 6 months or it could be a year, but I'm not gonna tell you it's yay or nay,
Yeah, since we weren't exactly sure, that's why we thought this, come to you, and then that way, if you were to decide to approve it, then, he's got that reference on his meeting.
Anybody else have anything you want?
It's a year-round structure. I'm not gonna put it up and then take it down, I gotta put, basically, I gotta put like 75 blocks.
Can you hear us, Brian? Brian, you are muted.
I lost you for a minute there. Yeah, I'm back though. You're back.
All right, so we're voting on the motion, to approve, the site plan application. What, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, yes, yes.
All right, Ralph Salone also votes aye, so it's unanimous.
Okay.
All right, you're all set.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time. Good luck. And like, what's the time?
We do ask if you don't mind.
All right, so next on our agenda is the regular meeting, approval of the minutes from, last month's meeting.
Tom, you want to make a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
Thanks. Is there a second to the motion? Thanks. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Bill Guerrero, how do you vote on the motion to accept the minutes? Joe Hartz, how do you vote?
Joe Marks, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom, you want to?
Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, abstain. I was not present.
Very good. And Ralph Salone also votes aye, so the motion carries with one abstention. Then under old business, we have the draft regulation amendments for motor vehicles, signs, solar, et cetera. And Stacy put together a draft commercial vehicle regulation amendment for us. If everybody wants to take a moment to go through that and comment on it.
And I would just note that this afternoon, I received comment back from Attorney Byrne. He said, I like the regulation. One thing for you and the commission to consider is whether you regulate the idling of these vehicles. Harwinton had a lengthy court battle with a contractor who kept equipment and commercial vehicles at home. One major issue was that he would leave the dump truck idling in the driveway, and the exhaust was a major irritant to his neighbors.
I thought state of Connecticut had
That's what I thought as well.
a 3-minute idle.
If you want, we can add to the conditions that pertain to everything that they have to adhere to. And we can put in a reference to that.
So, hold on. So for our next meeting, Stace, double check and see if the state has I
Okay,
think it's a 3-minute rule.
I think you're right.
Okay, Joe.
Well, under D, item 4,
Okay,
commercial construction vehicles, including but not limited to tobacco, qualified automotive, track vehicles, shall not be allowed. But they're out there.
what I was attempting to do by putting the word, when we went, because as you recall, we used Enfield as our, they simply just said construction vehicles. I added the commercial in an attempt to differentiate between someone who might have a bobcat at their property or, something that they just use on their property, as many people, as you say, do.
Because there's got to be, on my street, there's got to be, I bet you 10 backhoes because there's a lot of farm area.
Well, farms are excluded down in the exemptions.
Oh, okay.
But that was in, if somebody has a suggestion as a way to strengthen that, I completely agree, because I was trying to clarify that commercial construction equipment used off-site, because that isn't even permitted per the home occupation regulations. But I was trying to differentiate so that somebody on their own private property who happens to have a small little skid steer or something, that's not going to be.
One. Commercial.
Run the business out of the house.
This person may have already received a warning and may be on tap to receive a second warning. Are we talking about, what is it, Hotchkiss? Okay, I think I may know which property that is.
And it's 4 acre
For personal, and maybe we put that in there instead of, then by rights, that should not be at home. And what we maybe want to somehow clarify is for personal use only.
Well, and from what I'm hearing, he's probably in violation.
It sounds like it,
A home occupation permit
Correct.
also.
and he would not be able to obtain one as it is currently written.
Isn't there something in the regs to prohibit contractor equipment storing at your home already?
Yes, in the home occupation regs.
Yeah, so I mean, I would backhoes and bulldozers, and I mean, a contractor can be more than just a carpenter. You know, it could be the excavator as well. So I would put that stuff under the contractor's equipment, not necessarily commercial vehicles. If they're doing it.
Change
if
it, change construction
if it's-
vehicles to commercial equipment.
Yeah, not even commercial equipment, anything. Large equipment is for hire, for, it has to leave and come back unless they're continually working on their own house, but then they're not really making money with it. So
And maybe you use the words like solely for personal use or something like that.
yeah, some way to distinguish between, so it's because people may not read it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to.
I'll try and play with that a little more, but we're agreed that the idea of somebody having something that's only in use on their property.
Yeah,
For their
Yeah.
own personal use, something like that.
Okay,
they're I've seen it worded for other things, for not for monetary use or gain or
Okay.
something like
Yeah.
that.
So something I would like to see in here, and if it is, I'm missing it, but it should note here someplace that the parking should be either on the side or the rear of the house, behind the front wall of the house.
and we can do that. I think it was actually in the Enfield template. I did refrain from putting that in simply because I know there's gonna be some issues with that.
How so?
On a small lot, that's the layout of the driveway, it may not lend itself to that.
Maybe
I
put,
thought
Is it
ahead.
possible?
no, don't put where possible, because then they're gonna say it's not possible. Maybe you should put either in the driveway proper or behind the plane of the front wall of the house. Something like that, think about it.
Okay.
But the other thing that I think also should be in here that maybe isn't, is that if the vehicle is garaged,
Okay,
we don't really
Don't care.
care.
okay.
And then, I think the last point that I'd like to bring up is that if the vehicle is gonna be parked in the back or the side yard,
Okay.
It needs to meet all the setback requirements that a regular structure would need to meet. So they can't park it on the property.
And there again, I do remember you're saying that, and just for clarity, if we're saying we want it in the driveway, a lot of driveways aren't going to meet the setback. Because they're not required to.
Yeah, so maybe we put something about must be all setbacks unless it's in driveway proper. I don't know. I wouldn't want to park it on the front lawn, you know what I mean? And there will be people that want to do that.
Well, we can, if that's the thing, then we can say it shall not be parked in the front yard.
Difference if it's in the front yard or if it's in the driveway in front of the house.
And the driveway is,
Except in
Set
the
up.
driveway, it shall not be
It's
located in the
just
front
no
yard.
distance visible to everybody going by.
yeah, I know. Listen, it's a driveway, this looks bad.
Excuse me, is there, in the draft here, C3, it talks about screening and, things of that sort for the special permit. Are we talking
Yes.
about for the special permit or for the basic standard, what's permitted? Where would we put the
So
behind?
that's special permit.
So,
C pertains to all the requirements if we're talking about a special permit situation. So that's
Yeah.
the only place where that would pertain. The thing that pertains to everything is D, the minimum standards required.
okay. Is that where where Ralph wants to put the behind the house? That's my question, I guess.
And that's a thought, if it's gonna be something big enough to warrant a special permit. You wanna have,
Or is it just in the general commercial vehicle on residential lot portion?
well,
I'm keeping an open mind at this point.
gotcha. I mean, because I could definitely see that if it's something big enough to rise to needing a special permit, I could definitely see throwing that in as a requirement.
Because isn't the regs for trailers, certain trailers stored parked behind the residence now?
Yes,
So something similar.
and RVs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cars also do not apply.
Or- Exempted from farming activities.
So on this piece of paper that you handed me, did you mean that you got to strike that? You want to take that out?
Which
What-
part?
So Bill Guerrero handed me a piece here, and under 2.9, commercial vehicle, it currently says a vehicle which is licensed as a commercial or combination vehicle, bears business-related signage, contact information, and/or logos, and is regularly used in the conduct of business, profession, or trade. And Bill thinks we should strike the part that says bears business-related signage, contact information, and/or logos.
And my reason for adding that in is because a vehicle which is licensed as commercial, that's only class 7 and 8.
So, can we put all five in there?
I was thinking of changing the and regularly used and or. So it's like not, doesn't have to be all three. Does that do what you were hoping? Because I was already thinking as I read it today, again, I was thinking that should be an and or, because if you're making all three of those required, then we do still go back to the only thing that's licensed as a commercial vehicle is going to be class 7. So I do think that does need to change to and or, and then we can wordsmith that one part, whatever you think.
Could there be something in here? Maybe there is, maybe I'm just missing it. About the size of the vehicle versus the size of the lot.
In the special permit criteria, because again, as this is written, special permit comes into play if you're looking for a second class 4 to 6, or if you're looking for one class 7 or 8. So in part C2, it says all applications shall include a detail, section C1. The commission shall consider the special permit requirements in section 10 of these regulations and the following specific factors. Size of the subject lot, proposed screening, proximity to adjacent lots and buildings, the size, intended use, and hours of operation of the vehicle in question, other vehicles on the property, and the character of the neighborhood.
Okay.
We should probably have that as an appendix or something.
Yeah,
We could do
or at
that.
least reference it. Was that graphic put out by the feds?
It was actually from Yukon Clear, I believe, but I did actually, just to double check everything, I actually did go on the Federal Highway Administration website, and it has that, and there's even more classes above 7. Huge mega trailers and everything.
I think we're a lot closer now than we've been ever before. Yeah. Well, it's not open for public hearing yet. So we gave you a few
Yep.
comments and feedback. Why don't we, let's go one more go round before we set up a public hearing.
Okay, so just for clarity, I'm gonna try and tweak a little the definition for commercial vehicle. And somehow wordsmith the commercial construction vehicles line so that it's more clear that personal use is permitted, not for monetary compensation. Gonna check into the idling issue. Something in there clarifying more that if it's garaged, it's not so much of an issue. That it cannot be in the front yard. And if it's not in the parking, it's not in the driveway, then it cannot, then it has to be setback.
And think of some way to include a graphic, either this one or similar to it. But make sure you make a note in there that says, similar to,
Mhm.
but not exclusively, or not limited to.
As a general guideline.
Yeah, something like that would be very helpful. All right, is that enough homework for you on this for now?
I think so.
So, I sure would like it.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Under C2, any changes to vehicle specifications as approved under special permits shall require a new approval. Does that mean that if somebody goes out and buys a new vehicle,
As
all they
written,
have to do is
potentially,
submit the
yes.
information and they can put it there. Or if they sell their house, the special permit goes with it, and all somebody has to do is provide vehicle information and they can park this big truck there again.
Yeah, so, I think maybe there should be some kind of clause in there that says if the house changes ownership,
We may not be able to do that.
check with Brian, see.
I don't know if that case has been adjudicated yet, but the general inclination is that once the special permit is issued, except for very specific things like an earth excavation, et cetera, you really can't condition it like that.
However, we can condition it on the fact that if the vehicle changes, and specifically if the old one goes away and is replaced by a bigger one, then that
Yes.
would render it null and
Yes.
void, right?
Yeah,
What
no,
if
the
it was a
only thing-
smaller newer one?
I think a smaller one you would have trouble. If we can't say the permit is null and void upon change of ownership, we'll find out for sure, right?
Yeah.
If we can't do that, I think we'd have a lot of trouble fighting smaller size vehicle.
One could argue it's less than 10.
Yeah.
mean, I
Now
would
my
find-
only,
I'm inclined to take that out of there completely. Why would somebody need 2 class 6 vehicles or 1 class 8 on a residential lot? I mean, that's one of the main reasons for putting this whole thing together.
last month you guys mentioned you wanted some sort of tier with some leeway, and I built based on that. Now, again, point of discussion, if you don't want that, great, but last month we were talking about having some sort of tier, where you could, okay, well, maybe, I think the thought was had that, okay, maybe I don't care as much on a 7-acre lot as I do on a half-acre lot.
But I gotta tell you, I have neighbors that park class 8 dump trucks in their yard, and the lot is so big that it doesn't matter. So I can see where you say you don't see where somebody wanted a big truck like that. But it does happen.
Could we change the permit for the vehicle class? So if the vehicle class changes, they need to get a new permit. Why is that? How would that be bad? Or is that possible? I guess 2 questions.
Yeah, I mean, with that C2 as it's currently written, if they got something identical or smaller, they really, since you've already approved them to here, if they were here, would that really need to come back? Now, if you're coming back for something that's even more, and I'm kind of showing them up with hands here, but if it's something that's bigger than what you approved them for, then one could argue at that point, yes, they should come back.
I agree with Teresa. If it's smaller, it's smaller. If it's bigger, it's an issue.
Now, my only question in there, because I did a reread again today. When we say shall require a new approval, do you want it to completely go through another special permit?
Yep.
Or are you okay with the modification of an existing? Okay,
Well, that's my opinion. What do you guys think?
just because that came up in one other discussion, and I forget where, with Attorney Burns, so I just wanted to make sure we had that clear now.
I think it'd be better if we looked at all of them, because I can see it getting out of hand. At least then it has to go through a new special permit process. It's gonna go hearing all that stuff, so everything will be above board and nobody will really have to wait.
I keep getting hung up on the special permit goes with the property.
That's not our rule, though. That's the law.
That's state, right? So once property is issued a special permit, it's with that property forever and ever. how do you get around that? You got property that's got special permit for a class 8 vehicle, and that property is sold. Or whatever could have a class 7 or 8 vehicle on it.
Well, why you check with,
That's true, but you will have ostensibly looked at it through the special permit process. They would have submitted everything. And whatever conditions you attach to it still holds for the new person coming in. So if you had said, looking at it, yes, it's a 7-acre property and I don't care as much if there's a dump truck on there, provided you have the screening, this, that, and the other thing. And the next person comes in, he's got to adhere to those same exact conditions that you put on it.
so then if it was a big lot like that, right? And we approved it based on the size of the lot, and then let's say years go by, and the guy comes in to split the lot. What happens with that special permit? That, at that point, it should go away. I would think. Can you double check?
I
with
can
Vern?
double check that.
I mean, that's common sense, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna apply.
And I can double check with Attorney Byrne too, if there's something that's something that can be fixed with a condition that this is null and void if the size of
I
the
would
lot
like
is
to-
reduced.
Yeah, I would like to have an out so that we
Yeah.
could make it null and void based on some legitimate reason.
Correct. Yeah. It's part of review before it hits your desk is looking to see what is approved on property.
All right, so why don't we pause here for now? I'd sure like someone to make a motion to continue this during our meeting.
Tom Mueller, so moved.
Thanks. Is there a second? Thanks. Bill Guerrero, how do you vote on the motion? Tom Mueller?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Joe Harris? Brian Davis?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Solon also votes aye, so we'll continue this, at our next meeting. Communications, anything burning? It's not burning, let's skip it.
Really not, no.
Reports of officer, staff, committee,
My apologies with everything that happened.
that's okay, not a problem.
I didn't get a report done.
Do we need to do executive session?
I don't have any updates.
I do.
I'd like to hear that. Oh, executive session, want to make a
For
motion?
legal. Make a motion to go into executive session,
And by,
inviting Stacy.
and is Pat on the line too? All right, so you,
For a legal matter.
so, second, anybody?
Joe Hart.
All right. Bill Guerrero, how do you vote? Joe? Tom?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Brian?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Solon also votes aye, so, go into executive session. All-
Yep.